It would be better if we had LGBT folks.
I know, but well, then again,
But this
you
is-
think I'm trans.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
I thought you were trans.
It's an honor.
This is diversity enough. Happy Pride!
Happy Pride!
Yeah, what was your first reaction when you saw it in the news? Because we were here, actually, like in this same room.
Okay.
We were making props for the upcoming Pride March
Right.
here in our
Excellent
country.
props, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Here's a picture, or here's a link to an album. Yeah, we were making those props, and
Yeah.
then someone said, "Guys, like look at this, breaking news."
So what time was it here? Was it in the
What
evening?
time was it? Yeah, it was in the evening.
Okay, right.
Yeah, we were making the props, and whoa, this is a big deal. So we all stopped. We all shared on Facebook, I guess.
Yeah.
We saw our profiles. There were rainbows immediately. We had to set that ourselves. But yeah, it was a huge deal. It gave us more motivation to finish the props, to march with extra energy.
Oh, because otherwise you'd
following.
slack off.
So yeah, how was it where you were?
I was in London at that
Okay.
time. My husband and I were about to fly back to Manila, so I think we found out in the airport.
Wow.
And of course, I was reading the news and I thought it was some random news because, of course, equal marriage is being legalized everywhere. So I thought,
Yeah.
all right, so another development in the US. But
Yeah.
then all the news reports flooded in my newsfeed and I thought, oh my God, this is a Supreme Court decision. So we were just so happy. We wanted to do something, join the London Pride, but we were just in the airport. So
Yeah, there were,
it was quite sad, actually.
Marches all over were in support
Precisely.
of the Supreme Court decision in the U.S. that made marriage equality the default thing in all
Banned
50 states.
from banning
Yeah.
equal marriage.
Now there's equal marriage.
Precisely.
But, okay, that's what we're going to talk about. It's not all rainbows. That's a good expression for this, right? It's not all rainbows. There's still a long way to go, and that's what we're talking about. Like, people are so happy, but to sober people up a bit,
Okay.
that's what we're talking about. What are the negatives of this decision, in your opinion?
Okay, but of course the premise of all this is I'm
Yeah.
super happy.
We are.
Yeah,
That
of course.
goes
Yeah,
without
that's the
saying.
premise. Okay, but this is just a kind of how do you say that? Push the discussion
I was
a little
just
bit more.
I just wanted to say as soon as possible. This wasn't going to be a singing to the choir kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Because
we're all celebrating. If you're watching this
Yeah.
podcast, if you liked our page enough to subscribe to our YouTube
Yeah.
channel, you're for it, right?
of course.
Yeah. So we're talking
I would
about
assume that, yes.
the other side. Okay.
Right.
Let's begin.
Okay, there are a couple of things I want to raise, and I'm kind of prepared, I think. So
Very good. Yeah.
So the first thing, of course, everyone's been raving about that final paragraph where
yeah.
Justice Kennedy said it is so ordered, right?
Yeah, like-
the first paragraph of that last paragraph actually is a bit raises a red flag for me when it says no union is more profound than marriage.
There you go.
And of course,
Yeah.
it hinges on the presupposition that everyone thinks that marriage is such a beautiful thing and it's something that doesn't deserve unpacking and some critical,
Yeah.
how do you call it? Critical reflection on this
Yeah.
topic. And we all know, of course, that for a lot of people, marriage as an institution is the most conservative institution ever.
Yeah.
So while we celebrate the progress or the progressive nature of the same-sex legislation,
Yeah.
or decision, not legislation, I think that we also have to start thinking that, yes, it sounds progressive, but it also kind of reinforces the very conservative tradition of
Yeah.
marriage as a union between two individuals.
Nothing says patriarchy like marriage does. Well,
And capitalism, too.
and capitalism. So the case wasn't really about that, the status of marriage. It was just about people complaining about getting the same benefits
Yeah.
that married people get.
Precisely,
Right? Like immigration benefits, inheritance benefits, medical,
Yes.
tax benefits, and all of the other benefits that you get. But the decision went beyond that. It really put marriage on a pedestal, as if it wasn't already on a
As
pedestal.
if it's the purest expression of a particular union between two individuals. Two, because we
Yeah,
can also talk
yeah.
about polygamy being
Yeah.
excluded from this decision.
That's true.
Which is another topic altogether. But Yes, so it puts marriage as the pedestal, on a pedestal, as
Okay.
if it were the purest union that two individuals could ever have.
What is wrong with putting marriage on a pedestal?
Just because it excludes alternative lifestyle. Like, for example, the term I read the other day is dignified singlehood, people who are single by choice.
Yeah.
Polyamorous relationships. There are other configurations of how romantic and caring and loving relationships are configured that are outside the boundaries of marriage. But of course, both of us are in, maybe we should start attaching adjectives to the kind of marriage that we have. We are both in opposite sex marriages.
Opposite sex marriage, yeah.
In the same way that we just talk about same-sex marriage. But anyway, so yes, I guess it's just an articulation of the fact that marriage remains to be a privileged form of union as reinforced by the Supreme Court decision.
So, you talk about equality, and yes, same-sex couples, LGBT couples, now have marriage, and it's equality in that sense.
Yes.
But there is inequality built into the idea of marriage.
Right.
Like certain rights and privileges are not given to those who are not married.
That's right.
So unmarried individuals, unmarried couples, and the children also of unmarried couples do not receive the same benefits.
That's right.
So there are arguments actually, if you want to out-progressive someone, the thing is abolishment of marriage. State not even recognizing marriage as an institution. Because there are arguments that unlike the right to be free from violence or the right to pursue happiness, marriage is more subjective, the value.
What do you mean?
It's not, everyone does not share the same, it's not on the pedestal for all people.
Yeah.
So the state shouldn't even be in that business. Some people are arguing, leave that to the churches, but give the rights previously reserved to only married couples to everyone else.
Right.
So that you can have whatever kind of union you want, and the state should not have a say in that, but you receive all of those rights.
Yeah, precisely. Because, if we read, for example, Engel's work on the origin of the family, these institutions of, for example, marriage is really a way of regulating inheritance.
Yeah.
Kaya nga there's this very big capitalist orientation towards it, that men want to make sure that whoever inherits their property or capital are blood related to them by blood. But of course, now there are many configurations on how we can ensure that property line goes to people we think deserve to get the property that we want. And why is it only limited to bloodlines? Why is it very patriarchal in orientation? So you're absolutely right that maybe now is also a time to start thinking about why is a particular union the way to regulate family life, communal life, shared ways of living. Is now the time to start thinking about how the state can actually be more open to kind of, acknowledge relationships. For example, on a death certificate. Why does it have to be the spouse that has to be, or the living spouse that has to be recognized in the death certificate of a loved one? Why can't it be a friend, a best friend? Why does it have to be a romantic relationship? Yeah.
Actually, some of the dissenting judges, in their opinions, made these points. It's interesting, right? We disagree with them when they say that you shouldn't give these equal rights to
Ask
to
your
LGBT.
favorite hippie.
But I think they're right when they say, like when Scalia says, for example, that you can get intimate relations outside of marriage.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? It's not
just
marriage.
talk about the titas, the horny amigas we were talking about last time. Yes, wonderful show, by the way.
Thank you. But there are many options, and all of these should the government should not have a say on what happens in the bedroom, and even in what kind of relations get certain privileges and whatnot. Another angle. Let's look at the push for LGBT equality. Okay, many people rightly remind others that this is just one step in the struggle for LGBT equality, and a lot of people are worried. Should they be worried? Like, are there reasons for worry?
Yeah, of course, I think so. Violence directed against LGBTs in particular are still very bothering, both here and overseas. Of course, the stigma is still always there. And I think part of that stigma is always about, the role of LGBT couples in parenting, for example. Of course, there is again an assumption that only married parents can parent children properly. But of course, studies after studies show that kids with gay parents have an equal shot at having a normal life, whatever that means. It's like climate change, studies after studies confirm that it's true.
Yeah.
So even if we have this landmark Supreme Court decision, I think the general air of bigotry is still very much present. But it's a first step. Giving them legal standing would at least give them that security, that they have at least some legal infrastructure to recognize and protect the stability of whatever marriage can provide, at least in theory, because we're trying to unpack that right now.
Just one step. This is, of course, one of many struggles that LGBT individuals have to face still.
Yes.
But this is definitely, and I agree, this is the most fragrant. What is it? What do you call it?
Aromatic?
Sanitized? No, like think of it. Marriage. Everybody likes, that's on the pedestal for a reason because people generally like it. Equality, right? Also a good thing. Marriage equality. Look at the other struggles, right? Compare it to awareness of transgender issues.
Yeah, precisely.
Right? Like compare the two. A lot of allies would be on board when it comes to marriage equality. That's so easy to sell. Love wins. It's so easy to brand. You can make colorful shirts of it, hearts and all that.
Sure.
But what about transgender issues?
Right.
Not everyone would be on board, and the bigotry there would be worse. And one of the things people worry about is a lot of people have already won on this front, and maybe they're tired. They will rest now.
Right.
They will get married and have families and not be as supportive of the other causes that LGBT still to fight again.
Yeah, you're right. I think one of the key messages here is how a lot of these equal rights struggles are interconnected projects.
Yeah.
I was in a gender studies conference in Sweden a couple of weeks ago, and they're talking about how, the feminist struggle, the LGBT struggle, always has to speak to the civil rights struggle.
Yeah.
And the problem is when these struggles don't overlap, they don't intersect, because they're very much interconnected. And you're right, it's so easy to kind of start celebrating and start slacking off in the same way that I think a lot of civil rights advocates before have started thinking that, we have Obama now, it's all good. But as we can see in Charleston, Ferguson, of course, it's still not very okay, the situation there. So if anything, more progressive and productive will come out of these equal marriage decision. It's really just that emphasis that this is just the beginning, and there are way more inequalities that we have to unpack and criticize.
Yeah, it's certainly not isolated. There's this expression that I read somewhere that said, okay, LGBT, married on Sunday, fired on Monday. Because if you have marriage equality in one state, but you don't have anti-discrimination, discrimination in the workplace laws in place, that kind of discrimination can happen.
Precisely.
And you need, it's interconnected, as you said.
Yeah.
Like there's a right to marry, sure, but there's also the right to not be discriminated against.
Right.
And in the Philippines, okay, let's bring it to the Philippines because we are starting from that angle, the anti-discrimination law.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on, the anti-discrimination bill. I mean, let's not jump.
Not yet. No. And we're running out of time. And I should know this because my friends are really working hard on this bill.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's still a lot of opposition. It's just the sheer sensitivity of including an LGBT tag on a piece of legislation already kind of makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. I've had some work with, I probably shouldn't name that government agency, about gender mainstreaming in the workplace. And just to suggest that, yes, we should have a module on LGBT rights already kind of makes some people feel uncomfortable. We're not ready for that conversation.
Yeah.
It's a very conservative institution.
Yeah.
So to me, of course, it's a very unscholarly indicator, but it's nevertheless an indicator that a lot of people are still kind of hesitant to at least have that conversation. And on the other hand, some people want to have that conversation but don't feel equipped to do that. That's why I think what you did in the Pride, when you have that
genderbread.
The gradients, is kind of a good visual representation to let people start reflecting on, actually, my sexuality is not that straightforward, or how I understand gender and sex are very basic, and it has to be more complicated. So I mean, it's a start, but a lot of people must have access to to these gradients.
So now everyone looks at the U.S. If you're, we were talking earlier about how the Philippines is a state, isn't it? So
Yes,
a lot of people.
that is discussed in the last issue of Manila Review by Leloy Claudio.
There
Yay!
you go.
Makapal din mukha ko, Leloy.
Is it online? Like, can you link to it? Like,
Yeah, I think
okay,
so. We
there,
can.
it's online.
Yeah, there
read
you
that
are.
article. So we are a state. People actually behaved as if the victory happened here.
Yes.
Like, nope, you still cannot get married in the Philippines if you are of the same sex.
Yeah.
But there will be some repercussions. You know, do you think at least? Oh, marriage equality has passed. Will it make the anti-discrimination bill seem like a happy middle? Oh, I can go for that. Not for marriage equality.
Yeah.
Not there yet. But the anti-discrimination bill seems innocent enough. You know, safe enough. Do you think legislators will look at it that way? People in general.
At the very least, it should open doors. I'm not sure about legislators because a lot of them are hard-headed. Of course, a lot of them are progressive too.
Yeah.
But if anything, I think it emboldens, it gives confidence to grassroots LGBT movements to kind of have that unity in passing the anti-discrimination bill.
Yeah.
Of course, even among the LGBT community, we must not homogenize them. Of course, there are lots of struggles, lots of debates, lots of tensions within the movement as well, and that's something to be celebrated, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a cult. It's
Definitely
a
not.
multi-perspectival, how do you call that? Yeah, multi-perspectival movement.
Yeah.
There are very different issues within these grassroots movements.
It's not a monolith.
It's not a monolith. So let's also not
There's no
romanticize
LGBT
it.
agenda.
Yes,
That's-
precisely. Yeah, precisely. So actually, some LGBTs would also say that, why put marriage on a pedestal? Actually, that discourse precisely came from these people, that shouldn't we break the heteronormative prescription of being monogamous?
Yeah.
Free love, not equal love, some people would say. But nonetheless, going back to your question, it should at least embolden the grassroots movements. I'm not very confident with the composition of our legislature at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm also not confident with the public opinion because there's this survey that says 70%, I think, of Filipinos do not favor equal marriage. But I guess it's something when, how do you call it, like a cultural superpower sets a trend because it kind of legitimizes that worldview. So yes, it should at least give us some momentum.
Okay.
Although I'm not sure if it has a direct relationship.
Yeah, you mentioned something about
With the discrimination.
legislators and surveys, and I just remember this graphic that I shared on Facebook, and it's this group of legislators. They're looking at the polling results. You know, like the approval of same-sex marriage or marriage equality. It's rising from 52%. They're waiting 55.
Oh, in the
56,
US, yeah.
57%. Okay, I'm for gay marriage. Like, gay marriage plus 1 me and stuff like that.
Right.
The bandwagon effect, right? It's not a cult, but a lot of people, who were previously against marriage equality or at least on the fence are now gung-ho. They replaced their profile pictures on Facebook with the rainbow version. What do you think of this bandwagon effect? Is it a good thing or what do you think?
I mean, I think it's a good thing in the sense that it encourages people to come out of the gay marriage support closet, I think. I mean, for a lot of people, for example, especially those coming from conservative backgrounds, changing that profile picture to that rainbow-colored theme, it may sound trivial to people like us, but for some people, it really took so much, to use the Catholic word, discernment, to kind of change that. So I wouldn't, how do you say that? I wouldn't trivialize that particular act because it's a public platform. Facebook is very personal. For people, this is very impressionistic on my part, but for people I know who don't really talk about politics online, to change that profile picture, I think is something. I definitely wouldn't trivialize that.
Yeah, talking about the reactions on Facebook, majority, of course, I have my own bubble, so majority were very positive.
I've hidden a lot of people as well, so it's an echo chamber.
It's an echo chamber that I have now.
Although I subscribe to Fox News, just
there you go, to balance it out.
Destabilize that echo chamber.
But what's more surprising to me than the bigots, actually, what's more surprising is the people who had no reaction at all.
Right.
Like, how does that happen? This is one of the... I don't know, but I hope we're doing our part in at least talk about it.
Yeah.
Like if we are to reach that stage of LGBT equality, or even skip it and have abolishment of marriage, the first thing we should do is talk about it.
Right. Yeah. I think it was a Slate or a Political article that says now we're in the beautiful phase of the slippery slope. So how far can we push this?
Yeah.
As if it's such a radical idea to grant people equal marriage, but it's not such a radical idea, because I would still say that it's a right. Having rights is not such a radical idea, but to actually put it in practice is something to celebrate about. But yes, if we want to push it further, then what are the other possibilities we can think about? So, I mean, earlier I put forward the idea of polygamy. Maybe we should...
Let's try polygamy.
Or start thinking about polygamy. Still super conservative. Or, dignified singlehood. Or actually, what do you call that? Like, pluralizing how we can pass on property and inheritance to people that we're not related to by blood or by some legal relationship. So I don't know. I mean, what
I actually read an article earlier about the polyamorous community starting to think of this as a jumping off point. Like, we're gonna start advocating more because in the decision in Kennedy's act, if I'm not mistaken, he mentioned how even polyamory was part of the history. So maybe now the climate is more willing to be accepting of that. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, if you look at it historically, I mean, the whole idea that marriage is a romantic institution.
That's a new, relatively new.
It's fairly new. I mean, of course, when we read all of these novels, we can see that arranged marriages was the norm before. You don't marry below your class.
It's a power business kind of thing. More, you know. Like, if you so happen to love your partner, that's just good luck, because it's not usually the case. It's only more recent that, like you said, romantic marriages were the default.
Yeah, or romantic relationships with people who share the same sex organ as you. I mean, if you look at all of these old Greek sculptures, right? I mean, so I guess what I'm saying here is... So I guess what I'm saying here is these romantic relationships are all socially constructed. We tend to think that it's natural, that, you know, people get married because they're in love with each other, because love wins, and it only has to be between two people. All of these are products of our own modernities and demands of our particular times. So maybe if it was unimaginable before to think about getting married because of romance and not because of, let's say, parents' traditional arrangement of, or pairing, traditional patterns of finding a mate at that time, then maybe in the future we can start thinking about, or now we can start thinking about how the future looks like.
Exactly.
Precisely because, again, going back to the Kennedy decision, I think the most powerful line there is, you do not spot injustice right away in a particular generation. You tend to spot injustice in hindsight.
In hindsight.
So,
hindsight is 2020. And
precisely.
Is it soon enough to say that all the bigots were wrong? Marriage equality was the right thing. It was the moral and ethical thing. Is it? Yeah. Can we say that now? Is it decided now?
I think it's been decided.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But of course, we don't know how the future generations would also judge us. Maybe they will laugh at us for saying, I can't believe in the year 2015, equal marriage was still a subject of debate.
Or that you got married.
Or that we got married. So parang, oh gosh, we're probably barbarians in the future. How dare these people think they can have that vow and think of, you know, having that binding relationship with someone forever. So we don't know yet, but we should definitely start considering this, especially since we're on the topic of free thinking and thinking about all of these possibilities and permutations.
Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode. Thank you, Nicole, for being here again.
Yes, and of course, I'd like to take this opportunity to promote once again Manila Review. Thank you, free thinkers, for being good allies of the Manila Review. And if you want to get convinced that we are an American red state and Latinized banana republic in Asia, this is the basis of our conversation a while ago. That yes, we are an American state in our minds. Of course, I'm just kidding.
I think I'll be on the next issue.
Even better. So, thank you, free thinkers.
And thank you to everyone who attended the Pride March. Your gender-bread photos, if you took one with us, are already on our page. Check it out here. Thank you. See you at the meetup, which is happening this weekend. Details on that on our website. Do like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much, and see you next week.
Bye. now.
Yes, of course.
Yay!
You deserve your ice cream.
Yeah, precisely.